Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this snowy and icy day. I hope everyone is safe and warm at home. My name is Jamie Roy, and I'm an account manager with United Way's Workplace Engagement Team. I have the great pleasure of working with our Tour Tuesday series. If this is your first Tour Tuesday with us, welcome. We started the Tour Tuesday series in 2019 as an opportunity for folks to get an inside look at the great work happening in our community through United Way and our partner agencies. For fellow nonprofit staff, this is a great way to learn about other service providers and programs that might be beneficial to your own clients. For those looking to get involved, it can be a great way to hear about current volunteer and engagement opportunities. And for our United Way donors, this is a fantastic opportunity to hear from the agencies who are putting your dollars to work in our community. While we do hope to one day be together again soon, we are happy to continue with our virtual series. Each tour features agencies from across the greater Nashville region as we come together to discuss current community conditions. During today's tour, we will be discussing certainly the most current and pressing community condition, COVID-19 recovery. We have the great privilege of being joined by representatives from 3 different agencies. Today, we will be hearing from Lisa Woolley of Rooftop Nashville in Davidson County, Cindy Seiler from Mercy Community Healthcare in Williamson County, and Leanne Wills with NeedLink. During today's conversation, we will hear how COVID has impacted the clients these agencies serve, and also how these nonprofits have been sustaining families' basic needs throughout the year. At the end of today's session, attendees will have the opportunity to ask questions to our panelists through the Q&A box, so please hold all your questions until the end. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our fantastic agency representatives to let them tell you a little bit more about their respective agency and what services they provide in our community. We'll start with Lisa Woolley. Lisa is the Executive Director at Rooftop Nashville. Lisa, thank you so much, and go ahead.
Thank you. I'm going to try and share a screen. There we go.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Lisa Woolley. I'm the Executive Director with Rooftop Nashville. We are a local nonprofit in Davidson County that works to keep Nashville housed by building stability through a collaborative and compassionate rent and mortgage assistance program. And what does that mean? Rooftop historically provides assistance for individuals or families in Davidson County who are experiencing a one-time financial hardship and have a resolution in place. And those that are in ongoing situations are connected with resources. For us, what that means is somebody who is on that cost burden line, folks who are experiencing something like a surgery or a car repair. Schools are closed for weather, and so you lose hours. And the resolution is already in place, and a one-time financial grant solves the problem. And then we have partnerships with lots of other organizations that provide wraparound services, and so we can provide direct referrals and other educational or resource opportunities if somebody wants to take advantage of that. Our grants range from between $1,000 and $3,000. That's gone up dramatically in the last few years. The $3,000 limit was for a short-term medical grant where we were able to walk with folks for more than 1 month, up to 3 months, simply because we realized things like chemotherapy or hip replacement sometimes took more than 1 month. But generally it's a 1 month grant that covers 1 month. And it happens every 12 months, and we always clear the balance to zero. Sometimes the client will participate in paying towards the balance, and sometimes it's all a rooftop grant. Of course, that all changed in 2020. We got funding specific for the tornado and specific for COVID-19, and have been able to walk with families for more than 1 month, some for many months, to help stabilize their homes. Our theme that came out of 2020 was Respond 2020, and we stabilized 64 households with tornado assistance at right over $100,000. in assistance. Now, when I say households, I don't mean assistance times, I mean the actual house. Some of those folks we assisted more than once. The same is true with COVID. 494 households were stabilized for over $800,000 in assistance that went out the door for COVID. All total, 752 households were stabilized by Rooftop in 2020, $1.1 million in assistance. Over 1,500 Nashvillians were helped. Just to put that in perspective, in 2019, we did have a little bit of a strategic planning year, so we were down. We stabilized 202 households, all total in 2019. Normally, Rooftop looks at between 200 and 300 households that we're able to stabilize, with around 150 to 250,000 in assistance dollars. So 2020 was a huge jump for Rooftop. Our outcomes, what we always go back and do follow-ups with our clients at 60 days, 6 months, and 12 months. So you don't get outcomes until the following year, but our 2019 outcomes are below. We consider if someone is still in their home or they had the opportunity to move on their own a success. The goal of this program is to prevent evictions and foreclosures. And so at 60 days, 96% of our clients were still in their home. A few had moved on their own, and only 0.4% were evicted. That comes out to one household. 6 months, 88% are still in their home or moving on their own, and 12 months, 82%. So we feel like that's pretty successful. We are excited about this 2019 outcomes. It will be interesting to see what happens with 2020 outcomes as we walk with people longer, what the data shows us and how that will change our criteria. Our theme for 2021 is Engage 2021. We are really excited about opportunities. We will be engaging within our own organization, with our neighbors, our partners, and our community. A lot of things got thrown at us in 2020, and so we added some staff, we added some technology. It's going to be a time where we can really grapple with what works, what is worth keeping to keep us sustainable as we move beyond the COVID crisis. But we don't expect that that will happen until 2022 or maybe 2023, to be honest with you. Because of COVID, tornado, bombing, all these things, we have had an opportunity to expand the partners that we work with and the community engagement that we have. And so we're really looking forward to seeing where that takes us in the coming years. So that's a quick overview.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and thank you for the work that you do. Cindy, I'm going to pass it to you if you're ready to speak about Mercy Community Healthcare.
Thank you. Wow, Lisa, that was great. That and not so much just interesting for our community and the middle of Tennessee, but wow, the help to those folks in this time of all times. Good grief. What I wanted to do, if I could first, is to introduce Mercy, is to actually show a quick video clip. And I asked Jamie before we started if I could allow David Leverton, our marketing and PR manager, to do that. I think he's able to. Yay! So we'll just watch this for a moment.
Mercy Community Healthcare exists to reflect the love and compassion of Jesus Christ by providing excellent health care to all and support to their families.
Mercy Children Clinic was founded in 1999 by a group of local business leaders who recognized the need to provide a resource for children in Williamson County who did not have health insurance.
Now we've grown to serve over 11,000 patients a year. We have a 20,000 square foot facility here in Franklin, and in 2018, we opened a clinic in Lewisburg. At both of these sites, we offer comprehensive care for the whole family, including primary care, behavioral, and mental health services. We also provide chronic care management and care coordination.
I like Mercy because I feel like the nurses are really nice and they understand you and they actually talk to you, and the doctor makes your doctor's visit fun.
Mercy is a wonderful place. They help everyone. It doesn't matter race, religion, ethnic background, social class.
In Mercy's Care Coordination Department, we assist patients and their families with medical and social service needs. If a patient or family member come into our office needing help with registering for insurance, paying for medication, getting transportation to and from a doctor's office, or any other social service need, our certified application counselors and care navigators are here to help.
I'm Stephen Neely, the clinical coordinator of therapists here at Mercy Community Healthcare. We have now implemented telehealth, so we have the ability to make phone calls. We have the ability to provide Zoom therapy, video therapy. And when people come in, we have on masks and we social distance from people to make sure that everyone's safe. And so it's completely changed the way we provide treatment, and I feel like we here at Mercy have responded really well to this pandemic.
I want to share with you a little about our school counseling program. Mercy has therapists in Williamson County School District, Franklin Special School District, and in Marshall County School District. The therapists work directly with the students, the teachers, and administrators to help their students thrive.
We always feel like we get the best care. At Mercy, we'd never consider going anywhere else.
This is only a glimpse of the services that Mercy offers in this community. We want to thank you for partnering with us to make this all possible, and we want to thank God and give Him the glory for the good that's done at Mercy.
So thank you, David, for doing that, and Jamie for letting that happen. It's said much better than I can. In 2020, Mercy served over 11,200 patients, body, mind, and spirit. Those people were cared for through 53 visits that ranged from well child checks all the way to illness treatment, chronic illnesses. We have a lot of chronically ill patients, psychiatric care, and behavioral health counseling. Our service area, the official service area for us as a federally qualified health center, is Hickman County, Marshall County, Murray County, and Williamson County. But we actually serve patients in over 30 counties in Tennessee, several counties in southern Kentucky, and a few places out of northern Alabama. As the video explained, we are a ministry to reflect the compassion of Jesus through the provision of excellent health care to all and support to their families. And that final clause there, providing excellent health care to all and support to their families, is the most significant way that United Way helps Mercy sustain our patients and our families. Through our operating grants with the United Way, we've been able to serve over 5,000 uninsured or underinsured adults who need care. Usually folks are happy to serve children, right? That's the fun part, but it's not so with uninsured adults, and the United Way has made that possible for us. And as the videos reflected, the United Way was instrumental in the support of our initiation of an in-school or school-based counseling program several years ago. And then during COVID, the United Way Cares program has given Mercy the ability to serve our patients and families with even additional services such as rent and utilities and help in that way. We are extremely grateful to the United Way for what we've been able to do.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, and thank you for your work and providing health care during this just really challenging year. So we're grateful for your partnership. Leanne, would you tell us about your agency, NeedLink?
Sure, I'm happy to. I'm going to refer to my notes with my glasses, so that real new attractive way of looking at things. First, let me tell you that Needlink Nashville actually started as an organization called Big Brothers, and we are 109 years old. Native Nashvillians will probably remember Big Brothers on the corners of major streets, Hillsborough Road and Woodmont, collecting funds for papers that we did every Christmas. And those, believe it or not, the sale of those papers funded us for the entirety of the year, way back when. And we started with mostly gentlemen, big brothers, helping those Nashvillians who lived at the time in the Gulch area of Nashville. The fancy, wonderful area that we have now known as the Gulch was at one time about the worst place you could possibly live, and it is also where the homeless were located in Nashville. So the Big Brothers were very much involved in helping homeless individuals in that area and those living in very poor conditions, repairing their homes when it was time to, and delivering food to them. And then also, way back when, heating oil and coal was delivered to these families. So you can see that long ago we were fulfilling a purpose that even today we still fulfill with assistance for those who are on the verge of homelessness, endangered by eviction, endangered by the opportunity of having their utilities disconnected. And in some cases, when utilities are disconnected in rental organizations, they are evicted. So that's a very big danger for those who are on the verge of any trouble like that that can endanger their home. So we continue to do that work every year. As an example, and I'm going to read from my notes here, just last month we helped 4,200 individuals, and we were able to assist with $246,000 overall for those 4,200. That is a remarkable number compared to what we would typically do in a normal year. That's, of course, in a month. So tremendous increase. That's because of the wonderful kindness of United Way, many of our foundations that have funded us over the years, and brand new organizations that are funding us now. And also we have been receiving support from NES for many, many years, but recently they have granted us a huge grant that is enabling us to prevent any sort of disconnections at homes, and that has been a very significant gift. It's only for past due balances of any NES customer, but as you can imagine now, with the experience of COVID, so many individuals and families have suffered because they've lost jobs, they've lost wages, and the things that suffer are their rent. They're not able to pay the full amount of rent or the entirety of rent, and their utilities become behind. So our goal is to assist them in staying in their homes and safe and sound with their utilities connected. This past, I think we're going to get to this in a minute, but this past year has changed Needlink tremendously, as I'm sure it's changed every organization that does what we do. I think one of the wonderful opportunities that we had was to learn how to adapt. And in the process of adapting quickly, we didn't have time. We had to do this very quickly. we created a whole different approach to our work. Typically, we would see clients on Mondays and Tuesdays in our office, personally consulting with them about their issues and helping them complete an application that gives us all the information we need about the client, and also are gathering all of the information that they have available to us to provide documentation for their statements on the application. During the week, we collect those applications, evaluate the applications, and fund by the end of the week. So one of our primary concerns has always been taking care of the needs of our clients as quickly as possible. We fund within 1 week. We make decisions in 1 week, and we fund within 1 week. The last point I'd like to make is that Needlink actually budgets throughout the year to fund each and every week of every year. So there's not an opportunity for us, simply because of the way we budget, for us to run out of funding in any month. We're actually funding every week, and that allows us to fund the most urgent, the most critical needs of our clients in 1 week. And it forces us to focus upon the most urgent needs. We primarily care for seniors. Our priorities are seniors, those who are disabled, families with children, usually single parents with children, veterans, and those who are victims of crime. Those are our sincere priorities. However, throughout this COVID disaster, tornado, and now the bombing that we've had, all individuals experiencing a need are being considered. I hope that helps with a little bit about Needlink. I know we're going to address some of these other concerns in a bit, but that's the general information. And of course, I think we're open for questions a little bit later.
Thank you so much, Leanne, and thank you for the work that Needlink does of connecting people to resources when they need it most. And thanks all of you for sharing about your organizations. A few of you touched on this, but we're going to talk about the impacts of COVID-19 now. So it's crazy to think that it's been almost 12 months of addressing the needs and increased demands for services stemming from COVID-19. If you could each spend a few moments discussing what that looks like at your agency, how that looks addressing the needs of your client, how you have had to adjust the services you offer based on COVID and our new restrictions, and any other new collaborations that have surfaced as you address people's needs. So we're going to start with Cindy from Mercy Community Healthcare.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And wow, Leanne, that was awesome. It's great to hear that and learn that. And I knew that Mercy was different than each of my other panelists, but I thought we were different in that we are an essential service, but it sounds like both of you are definitely essential services too. The way that we've adjusted, I guess first is that we've just continued to provide care. And in the beginning, when quarantine was going on, we still stayed open. We did the best we could before we got telehealth. Our behavioral health counseling and our psychiatry services have almost doubled. One, because of telehealth, but also because people are hurting at this time. We all know that. We're all in a different mindset, as both of you have alluded to. And so mental health services and mental health needs are increasing, and we must care for them and make those provision of services even more available than they were before. So there's many agencies like Mercy across the Middle Tennessee area, and we've all been seeing more folks, and we're all doing our best to adjust. Some of the adjustments have been telehealth, and to do that and continue to provide the highest quality of care has been our goal, and I think we've been very successful in it. At one point during the pandemic, over the last almost year, as you said, over 70% of our visits were telehealth. So we are extremely grateful for the waivers that are in place by the federal government and by the state and by the MCOs that have given us as a federally qualified health center the ability to provide those services through that method, because that was brand new to us. We'd never done it before, and we were able to set it up. As a matter of fact, I guess the first thing that I would want to do when you're talking about collaborations, you mentioned, Jamie, is I want to thank all of the Friends of Mercy who brought lunch, who expressed that they were praying for us during that time when we were trying to figure out how to provide services and how to let our folks continue to get their well checks and their well visits, not just come when they're sick, and to dispel that fear. We could not have done it without our donors. The second thing about our collaboration is Mercy Community Healthcare has the best care coordination department in the state. And I can say that because it was created before I ever came to Mercy, and I've been in most of the community health centers, and this group of people just love what they do, and they love our sister agencies. And so even though they've had to work around during COVID, being quarantined, having to social distance, and all of those restrictions kind of make you be creative in how you reach out to not only patients, but your sister agencies. But we've continued to partner and not only have Zoom calls, but actually just go out, reach out to people. We had an ice cream social at one point where people drove by and got their little cup of ice cream. So we've tried to think outside of the box as much as we could. Our church partners have also been great collaborators because they've sent people to us that wouldn't have known that they could get services with us during this particular time. And then we had 2 churches in Williamson County that actually called and said, what can we do to help you? Which is a big deal. Those of you that are directors of not-for-profits, you don't get that very often. And it was really a cool moment because I had just spoken with our IT team about what kind of money do we need to get the license to have all our counselors be able to provide telehealth counseling. And the expense was enormous. And about that time, I got the call from one of the churches, and I said, well, let me tell you. And she said, send that to me. And they enabled us to be able to start telehealth and get those licenses in April and May, which was amazing. I guess the quick COVID data points that I would share is just that we've administered over 1,600 COVID tests since we've been there, or since we've been in this situation. Our Williamson County Health Department is absolutely amazing, and they did most of it, actually set it up at the Ag Center, but we still saw over 1,600 folks and administered those tests. And as of last Saturday, we have actually vaccinated 300 people. So we've been blessed enough to be one of those sites in the state that was able to use the state guidelines and vaccinate folks. So we're really, really excited about that. Now, do you want us to talk about silver lining right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Because you were kind of getting there anyway. So yeah, what are some silver linings that have come from all of this?
Okay, well, I can share with you all that, I mean, we're faith-based. One of our silver linings is just the fact that we all have hope in Christ no matter what. But in a pandemic, in this pandemic, the term pivot, didn't y'all get sick of hearing it? I mean, over and over again, everybody was telling you have a business pivot. So what we did is we introduced it to our advantage, and we said the P was pray without ceasing every day. The I was to innovate and use innovation to think outside the box. The V was to verify the facts, because at one point, didn't you all hear a million things? Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, stay distance, don't worry about it. I mean, we heard everything. So that's what we had to do, is just verify the facts. And then the O was optimize every opportunity to care for our patients. Whatever way it was, that's what we did. And then the T was trust God daily. And so with the additional funding that we were able to bring in, PPP and those things, our layoffs were minimal. And so then we were able to bring folks back pretty quickly. So even though we didn't meet our patient target, which was 12,500 patients this year, the 11,200 that we did see was more patients that we've ever seen in the 21 years that Mercy has been in existence. So that's definitely a silver lining, just because folks needed care, and it's, you know, it's hard to celebrate that, but then we celebrate the fact that we're there for them. I want to give praise to our frontline staff and our direct staff, who are most definitely heroes at this time. And when I was talking about care coordination, one of the things that they were able to do with the United Way Cares money was immediately be in a position to not only help someone with medical care and referrals, because for a while we didn't have any place to refer. You know, nobody was getting to go to the hospital or go to any specialty, but we had many folks that had additional needs that we would normally refer to someone else. But with the CARES money, we had, and I'll give you this example, we had a single mom who had a teenager. She lost her job at the beginning of COVID, and we were not only able to meet her medical needs that she needed care right then, and her teenager, but we were also to assist her, and she avoided eviction. And then because we had that story, we were able to share that with some of our donors that like to just give private to our patients. And we were able to provide her and her teenager with a Christmas that she said would not be able to have happened if it hadn't been for that. So we're pivoting toward hope, and we do it in the compassion of Christ, but we've done a lot of different things that we never thought we would do.
Wow. Well, thank you, Cindy. I'm definitely stealing that pivot acronym, or whatever it's called. I love that. Yeah. Pivoting towards hope, definitely. And I have also loved seeing just how the nonprofit community has really come together to share resources, to, share clients, just to work together as best we can to help the community. So Leanne, I'm going to pass it back to you. You touched on NeedLink's work around COVID-19 a little bit, but I know you have more to share, especially in the working collaboratively space. So if you could share that, and then any silver linings.
Absolutely. This gives me a chance to brag on United Way. I think one of the best parts of our partnership that not only started among all the financial assistance organizations that have been a part of a group of kind of a small group that's been meeting for well over a year, 2 years, was started a long time ago by Lisa's predecessor and mine. It has been a partnership where we communicate pretty much every month, and now every other week. And that partnership has enabled us to come together and work more cohesively with all the clients that we're all dealing with now. The critical thing I'd like to bring up, which I don't think anyone except for those that do this every day, they don't know that we all share a platform called Charity Tracker, and this also is brought to us by United Way. It started out as an emergency, kind of a crisis. I believe it was a flood-related kind of database that was helping just one group understand who was doing what for what family. And it's grown since then into a program that many United Ways and other cities use. And we're fortunate to have it in Nashville. It was pretty much determined that all organizations that do financial assistance needed to be a part of Charity Tracker. We all adapted over time to use of it. And just to explain what it is as we see each and every client, we enter the information that we learn from that client, including all of their data, and also what we are able to do for that client. If we're not able to help with certain needs, we then refer that client to another one of our partner organizations. That partner organization then has the opportunity to review every bit of the information that we have already entered, or otherwise they have already entered as they refer it to us, and it allows us to have much more of a uniform manner of handling all the clients that are in need in Nashville. Some organizations handle some aspects of care, some handle another, and so if NeedLink is not able to help with one aspect, we can guide them to another organization that does, and vice versa. So it's a really critical part of our partnership, and it's been even more effective since COVID, because more and more organizations have joined that consortium of organizations that work all with Charity Tracker. So we're thankful for United Way for providing that. We're also thankful that United Way encouraged so many other organizations to be a part of it when COVID became such a, predominant emergency for all of Nashville. Then I also want to tell you that how we adapted so quickly, and that was a very, I'm just amazed at my staff. I was so proud of how we all came together very quickly to make things happen. And it was just a simple discovery that we could not operate the way we had been operating, which was personal consultations with our clients each week. And it was determined literally within 2 days that we needed to stop seeing clients in the office, determine a way to create an online application, which we had never had before, get that up and running by the next week, and then enable us to gather all that information, download it, and then instantly or within the week get it into Charity Tracker as quickly as we could. So it was my staff literally taught themselves how to do most of those things in just a week's period of time. It took us a long while to perfect the application. We still every single week make a little change to it as we determine that a client may not be understanding a question or what we need as much as we had hoped that they would. And that learning curve that happened in such a short period of time brought my staff together like you would not believe. It was a very unique team effort with each skill set of each staff member kicking in gear to make all that happen. We adapted, I think, extremely quickly. I was so proud, and we still operate now with that same application. You can find it on our website. It's the first thing you see, and that application thoroughly answers if completed correctly, thoroughly answers every single question that we would need if we were meeting with that client one-on-one. Then we also follow up that application with a phone call to them to go over the application and make sure that we're meeting every need that they have beyond what's in the application. Just as our link name implies, we try to make sure that we're guiding them to other resources that we determine when we have those conversations with them. Over that period of time, we literally doubled our staff. We have now 10 members of our staff. Several are two are part-time and the rest are full-time, and every single one of them I wish I could keep forever. Not that I hope COVID goes on any longer than it must, but every one of them have been just extraordinary, and we were just so fortunate to have the opportunity of having a great team pulled together to work through this. I want to say one other thing, which I think has been probably everyone has had to do to adapt. Every nonprofit creates a budget at the beginning of the year, assuming that you're going to know your year is just like the past year, only you're going to try to get more grants, and you're going to try to get another big foundation, and you're going to try to get another wonderful individual donor that would contribute more. All of that is in hopes and in anticipation of a great year. But you never plan no one would have ever planned for 3 tragedies to happen in Nashville in one, basically a fiscal year. And so we, for a while, we would have grant applications that asked for our budget. And I would say, well, what budget should I send them? Because do they want the one before crisis hit, or do they want the one we're operating now, or what? And we finally determined we can't create a budget for this year. It doesn't even make sense. Our finance committee was meeting every single week to modify what our plans were going to be. And it was not a year that you could ever follow a budget. You just had to shoot from the hip and make sure that you were not spending any more than you had in the bank, and make sure that you were doing the best you could do for your clients, while still, also hiring more staff members to make this all happen. So I want to say that as much as we're all required, very often required to supply every detail of information that we can supply to our foundations and funders, this has been a year where that was simply not possible. And we are pleased in so many ways that it wasn't possible because of the extra funding we've gotten, but the service level has been extraordinary, and the staff members that have been added to most organizations during this time to just accommodate the need has also been a real change for most organizations. We hope that things will return to normal, but we must plan for next year to be identical to this year, only we don't know if that funding is going to be available. So I think all of us that are speaking right now have that same worry and concern. And this is the life of a nonprofit CEO or executive director. Y'all are all shaking your heads like, yes, you agree. So I hope I'm speaking for everybody in that it's been a very eye-opening year, but also one, for me, it's taught me so much, and I think it's taught our staff members so much about our responsibility when there is a crisis or 3 different situations that affect us so quickly and where we must adapt.
Thank you, Leanne. I agree. I think it's shown us our responsibility and just what we're capable of, what we can do when we're under pressure. Lisa, same question to you. I know it's a big one, but how has COVID-19 affected your clients, your organization, and what are some silver linings?
I think Leanne has covered 2020 really, really well, because we're similar organizations operating in similar spaces, and Rooftop was founded by a group of partner congregations, and our physical location is still downtown in Nashville First Baptist. And so we have not been able to be in our physical location since March 18th. And this is not to pull on heartstrings. This is just a fact. The tornado happened on March 3rd. My father passed away unexpectedly on March 8th, and we had a service on the 12th in Virginia. The world shut down on the 13th. I came back, and the 18th we had to be out of that building and online. And so Leanne is right. Staff, and there were 3 of us. And one person who was part-time, who had been helping out when one of my staff was on parental leave, and she had just come back at the beginning of February. And so this person we were going to hire for 5 to 10 hours to kind of help us out. We were scraping the barrel. We were going to make this happen. And she's been full-time ever since. God bless her. So, and then we've added extra staff, and it's been a whirlwind pivoting. Yes, we have pivoted and pivoted and pivoted. And so here we are in 2021. So I'll kind of pick up there, because Leanne is right. We've had, and Cindy, you're right. You talk about the the sponsors, the funders, the United Way, the backbone that we have had to support us through 2020, the flexibility people have had. Because, and Leanne's also right, you know, they'll say, we need such and such. I'm like, I don't have it right now. Give me a minute, I'll try to figure it out. Because things change so quickly, and they're changing again very quickly. So in 2020, the powers that be, the city, the state decided, it really happened with private donations at first. Community Foundation and the mayor's office and Senator Frisk worked through United Way. One Community Foundation was tornado, Senator Frisk, the mayor's office, United Way, COVID. They had these big responses that were mostly private and foundations. And they decided to go through nonprofits. Nonprofits were giving out that funding. And then CARES money came and nonprofits were giving out that funding. And so all of our clients and all of the landlords and everybody knows, go to the nonprofits, go to the smaller churches. And this next wave of funding is coming through Metro Action Commission, which is fine and wonderful. It's simply a flip, and people don't know. And so the amount of applications we're getting are crazy, but we don't have that crazy amount of funding right now. And so you want to talk about pivoting. It becomes about education. It becomes about collaboration. The Metro Action Commission has been phenomenal about having meetings after meetings and trying to connect so that this is a seamless back and forth. Also, like Rooftop, our focus right now is where the gaps, because they're gaps. Metro Action can't look at mortgages. We look at mortgages. Metro Action can't look at someone who's not a citizen. We can serve somebody who's not a citizen. So we're filling in those gaps. We're also really looking at collaboration. The courts and evictions and foreclosures are real issues right now. There's a lot of confusion out there. Some of you may have heard Judge Rachel Bell is working on a legacy housing court. We were in conversation and part of that conversation before COVID ever hit. And then it kind of got suspended while last year happened. And she's going to be opening that court, or really already has opened that court. And so we're partnering with her and with Conflict Resolution, which is another nonprofit, to try and really help stop those evictions. So Conflict Resolution reported at our last meeting that there were 18,000 cases on the docket right now. General Session Court is closed. So technically people can't have an eviction right now, except if your lease is a rollover lease. If you didn't go in and sign your lease, then your landlord can just say, well, not renewing your lease. And the sheriff will show up and you can be evicted. And so Rooftop is really spending time looking at applications, understanding where a person is in their process and how close they are to being evicted. If it's a real issue, then we have some United Way Metro funding right now that's what we're using it on. If it is something that is not immediate, then we're referring them to MAC and hoping that when Metro Action opens this program, they can get assistance through that program. But that's one of those pivotal points where we're really struggling with who do we help, when, how, and things are changing daily. So our criteria is changing daily, and it's hard to say, somebody go, well, why did you help this person and not that person? Well, because it changed in 24 hours. Courts were postponed, and we thought courts were going to open in April, and then, or they were going to open in February, I guess, and then they're not going to open to April. So pivot is, we're going to take that. We just keep changing. I think one of the silver linings, the biggest silver lining is the way the community has responded, the way the community has come together, and the hope that gives me moving forward. Before COVID, our financial assistance group, we call it the FAN group, was working on a common application. And because we've done all this go online so quickly, we're able to talk to Charity Tracker's provider and go, hey, look, there are all these services. Let's see, can we work together to make that happen? I think that there is a great possibility that the groups in Nashville can come together and reduce barriers for our residents. It is hard to get financial assistance in Nashville. There are so many people doing it, but it's hard to know who to go to and what the nuances are. And it can be difficult. And what can we do to make that easier for folks? And how can we communicate that better? There's so many creative solutions out there, and a lot's been played with prior to COVID. I think these relationship developments and just seeing what we can do, like when we have funding, what we can do, opens doors. We're going to have data and data and data to open doors we didn't have before. And that to me is just really exciting, because ultimately it helps our city and our residents. That's what we're here for.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And we're so grateful that we have agencies like yours who are looking for people who have fallen through the gaps, you know, because those are the people that we really need to help. So we are about out of time for questions today, but it looks like all the questions in the chat have already been answered. So each attendee will receive a follow-up email with my contact as well as the contacts of the other agency representatives here. So please feel free to follow up with us for more information about how you can help, or if you have any questions. Thank you again to Leanne, Lisa, and Cindy for taking the time to be with us today. I know I speak for all of us in this virtual space that we are so grateful for the work that you've done and continue to do at a time when our community really, really needs it. United Way is so grateful to be a partner of yours and a supporter of your work. I also want to send a thank you to our attendees who joined us on this snowy day today. Thank you for taking the time. Just shows that you're devoted to our community, and we are so appreciative of your year-round support of United Way and our partners. We hope that you'll join us again for our next tour Tuesday in March. Information for March's tour will be posted soon on our website. So thank you all again. Stay safe, healthy, and warm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.